Yes, Kader. Thanks. How do you want to do this session? I have two topics for today.
Okay.
Last week you mentioned, you'll just do a roundabout discussion, right? So will it be at the end of the session, or do you want to do it now?
How is that? How long will your session will take? So we have 50 minutes now.
Yeah.
It depends upon how much you have timed for your session.
Maybe I can complete in 35 to 40 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. So let's do this, right? You said two topics, right? So finish one
Yeah.
topic, maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Then we will take 10 minutes and get to know each other. So we have been doing this for a while now. More than 10 to 15 people are attending. We don't know about each other. So let's do a quick survey to know about each other. And then you
Okay.
can continue with the second topic and we can close it.
Okay.
Okay.
In that case, right, what I'll do is the second topic is little lengthy. Okay. So I'll
Mhm.
complete that first.
Okay.
And if we skip the first topic also, we can catch up next week. Uh,
Sounds good.
okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Let's get started. Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Uh, in continuation to what we discussed last week, right, where we wrote code on JPA, how to connect to database, and also communicate between two microservices. So hope all of you went through that training material also. It will help you to understand better. So today's session is more about how do we do authentication and authorize the API calls which we are making to the microservices. I'll just share my screen.
Uh, just to make sure that Samuel, your video is on. I just want to make sure it's focusing on the top, right? Just close. If you want to shut off your video, I would appreciate it. Samuel, can you hear us, Samuel?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. Please shut off your video is showing on the top floor of.
it's off. It's
Yeah,
off.
good. Thank you. Let's get started. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about security, how it is done, and we'll see some sample examples. In real time, how do we do that authentication? So this is just a small framework which I put in a diagram. Earlier days we used to have the MVC patterns where we had the login frameworks, user ID, password, and then it used to connect to the database, and we used to check that and put it in the session for the whole session management. So similar thing only. The thing is, because we are talking about APIs here, we'll have to do a little bit more using the Spring Security Framework, which is already available. Okay, so here to brief you, we'll go through the code also, like just to go through the flow. So whenever a request comes, to an API, last week we saw the API calls on localhost. We were directly allowing the API. I mean, the request without any authentication, the API was getting called, and we did the operations. But in ideal case, that is not how it has to happen, because we don't know who the caller is, and we have to ensure that the right caller calls the API, and so that's why there is an authentication framework needed. So Spring Security gives us that framework here. So ideally, when the request comes, it gets into the authentication filter, and the security context is the place where the after the authentication is done, the security context is the place where it is all the the token which gets generated, and whether it is authenticated or not, that context has been maintained in the security context. And then we have the authentication manager and the authentication provider. And we have to ensure that the password, if we are talking about using user ID and passwords in the database. There are many ways to do that, but we can use the user ID password concept. If that is the case, we have to ensure that the password is encoded, and you have to have the user details service to save and retrieve from the DB. So that's how the overall flow works. And I've just listed what each service does, and we'll just go inside. So by doing this, right, we have the dependency added. We were talking about multiple dependencies so far for each and every framework or the usage we need. So here for the Spring Boot JWT token, JWT is JSON Web Token. We are having this dependency we have to add along with the Spring Boot starter security dependency. So if we see the sample code, we made this code available in the bank service which we talked last week, right? If you get a latest pull from that service, it will be available there. And if we go to the pom.xml, these two are added. So by doing this, we have enabled the Spring's security for the application, just to start with. And the flow here, what we are doing is we have the user ID passwords saved into the database, and those user ID passwords will be used for the authentication. So for that, what we have done is, we've just extended the application to allow the user details being saved. Like the repository class being added, or like last time using the JPA framework, we can add details to the database, right? So we've created a new new table, user table, and add it to the database. Okay, so it will just have a user ID password and a role. A role can be admin, user, or anything. So here we have just created a repository and its request and the response classes, the whatever has to be done. And role is just an enum. What can be the roles for those users? So this follows the same JPA pattern, and we have enabled the controller also. So if you see the Swagger, latest Swagger, the new endpoints for the user management is added. So this is something which will help in creating a new user into the application. So we'll just add a new user now. So I'm just creating a user 3 and with a role user, and also giving the username user 3. So when we do this, using the JPA framework, it gets inserted into the database. So, but here, because I've enabled the authentication here, and I have added a logic, where the user creation can be only for the admin role. So I have to switch my token to the admin, which I'll explain. So I'll just do that. We'll see how to authenticate in detail. Just the initial part I'm just showing. So now I have switched to admin role. So I'm creating a user now, user 3. So now it is allowed. So user 3 is added. The password is encoded password. Okay, so we've added the users to the application. Now we have to see how to generate the token and use the authentication framework. So for doing that, right, we'll see. We have anyway enabled the um, security here. So what it follows is we have to have the authentication controller. So here we are talking about JWT token creations. So the authentication controller will have the endpoints for the authenticate. That is the ideal JWT which gets generated and sent back to the user. So this is the controller which needs to be added, and we have to add the configurations. The web security config is the starting point for the security features being added. So here this is a configuration class, and we have to enable the annotations for enable web security as well as this enable global method security. And this extends the web security configure adapter, which is given by the Spring configurations. Okay. So here is what we are ensuring that the authentication starts. Okay, so this is where when the call comes to the /auth, it checks the user details and checks for the password. Okay, so first we have done this, and this is to ensure that some URI calls are not being sent to the authentication. So if we call anything and it has to bypass the authentication, we have to use the whitelist, and we have to use the we have to ignore them. That is permit them without any authentication. And the /auth is the controller or the path where the JWT token is being generated. So we have to allow that. And we have just added for a check for the admin role also. So this configure method is important. So it says that security you disable for all this URLs and add a filter. So next, after we configure the web security config, then we have to add a filter. So the JWT filter is the first entry point when an API call comes. So this filter extends one per request filter, which is available in the web filter framework. So what happens is, whenever the API is being invoked, it doesn't call for the second and subsequent calls. So the very first call, it makes sure that it is authenticated, and for that session, it has been maintained. So this is where the filter is there. And as soon as the call comes, it checks the headers. And the JWT token, whichever has been sent, will be authenticated here. If it is not authenticated, the request will be sent back. So this is how the filter works. But let's see the JWT util where the token generation first happens. Then we shall see how the request has been authenticated. So first, because we are talking about tokens here, based on the user ID being passed, we have to generate a token. So token is something which will ensure that the authentication or the caller sends the correct information and he is the right caller. Okay, so for that we are just ensuring that sometimes we can just base encode and send it, but it is easy to decrypt and find that out. So each application can do a token generation with any concept. Like you can build a token generation concept. So here what we are here, this is the simplest way. So what we are doing is we are taking a map of claims, and the subject here is the username being passed. So here I passed user3, and we are adding the current timestamp, and we are adding a token validity, like for how long this token will be valid. Say 30 minutes or 20 minutes or even very few minutes. It depends on our usage, and we are signing it with an algorithm. And the secret is something which will be unique to the application. Here we just put it into a property file, which is a string which can be environment specific and unique for the application. So here I just used a testopper secret, just added to the application YAML. So if you see, it is just another string, so that it will identify the token formation uniquely, and we have generated this token. Okay, so when the /auth call comes, what it does is it in turn calls the it takes the user name and then loads the token. So the token is created here, and this has been sent back in response. So that's how first initially the token has been generated. So we have the authentication controller where the /auth call is there. So I am going to create a new, I'm going to create a token for my user 3. So if I give a wrong password, it's giving invalid credentials. I created the user with user3 as the password itself. So now I'm giving the correct password. It authenticated, it verified in the database. So as per this code, it verifies in the database, and then it is generating a token. So this is the token which got generated for this user. We have set for 30 minutes as the expiry time. So it just takes this. This token has to be passed to the API call. So in Swagger, we have an option to authorize this way. We can add here with bearer and do this. So for this session, this token is being used. Generally in Postman, if you are using, we have to add like this. We add authorization bearer and the same token which we have generated now. So this is one endpoint. So I can use this and I'm getting the response. So if I give an invalid token, okay. So this is an invalid token. So it's giving the error saying that unauthorized. 401 unauthorized. So the token generation can be done even from the Postman also. So now we have generated the token. Now we are going to use, we can use it for any other API calls here. So I have added this to the Swagger. So now the token has been added. So now I'm going to use my bank create bank application, which last week we saw, right? So same thing. Sorry. So ideally, it allowed now. So bank code length must be 5 characters. So I have not used the correct one. So it allowed. So in case I am not, I'm clearing the token here. So I have logged out. I'm trying to create one more. It will say that unauthorized because the token has been expired now, or the token is not available for the request. So that's how we authenticate the API flows. So if we go inside, right? So the creation is done. So when the actual call comes, what happens is first the request is coming into the filter. So the filter checks for the bearer token. So we are adding that string bearer space and the token, and then this token, the get user from token. So here we have the code to decode the token, that is username from the token. So claim from token has this. No, the signed token has been passed, and we're getting back the token information. So like the token generation can be application specific. You can make it more complex by adding more logic into it, but this is one of the simplest way to do it. So I told about the filter. So the filter checks the username, and if the username from the token and the username is available in the database, then it will allow. If it is not available, then it will give an error saying that it is not available and it's not authenticated. And what we do is we are setting that into the security context so that it is available throughout this session. And the filter, the filter ends here. So after the filter, the actual call goes. So in our case, the bank controller, so it gets passed and it goes there. And one more addition to this is this is the authentication entry point. If it is if the correct token doesn't come right, it will throw back the unauthorized error, the 401. And yeah, one more thing to tell is, if right now I was showing from Swagger, but if the if another microservice or an external API needs to call this, right? So what will happen is first thing they will that application has to call this /auth URL, get the token generated, when it calls here, right, with the user ID and password in the request. So this token will be sent back to that my caller. And then what that caller has to do is in the headers, it has to set that token in the headers and make the second call for whatever call it is going to make. So say for example, last week we saw the payment service. Uh, and where we were calling the bank service client, right? So we have to implement a method like /auth, and we'll have to implement code to pass the headers to the this is to get the token. Once this token is available, to call the other method, it has to pass the request headers also. Otherwise, the application will give a unauthorized error. Any questions still now?
Yeah, I have a question. But can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not today's topic. I wanted to. I'm sorry for going back to last week. So I tried playing with the code to understand the payment services and how to call the different microservices with the bank service and payment service, right? But I couldn't get the payment service to work. So I tested the different APIs. I don't think they were connected in any way. I think they were disjointed. So no link in between the bank service and the payment service. So I couldn't get it to work.
Okay, maybe you have to check once on the ports being used. In the payment service, there is a bank service domain. Okay, just check the port which has been used here. This should be the same as the port which has been configured for the bank service.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe there was a mismatch.
Okay. Okay. I'll check that port.
Yeah,
Okay.
and both of them have to be running at the same time. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Another thing is, can you explain the enum validator? What is that used for?
Enum validator.
Yes.
Okay, okay. Yeah, generally what happens is, you know, for enums, we, in this case, right, where is that role? Yeah. So we want to ensure that, you know, whatever is in the enum only has to be there, used wherever we are, you know, in cases where we have to insert or retrieve, right? So this has to be the or list or the enum list which has to be used. So the enum validator ensures that it is part of the list. Anything outside this list, it'll throw an error.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, this one thing I have forgotten to inform. This authentication manager, which we are auto-wiring here, was part of the old deprecated code. So we have to ensure that this has been added and overridden in the code, in the config. So we have to create an explicit bean here and ensure that that is there. Otherwise, we'll get an error saying that, you know, this authentication manager is not found. So this one part I forgot to mention. So we are using here, but this bean will not be available with the current Spring Boot versions. So we are explicitly creating that here. And this password encoder also, we are doing that here. Any questions? So the same thing, the same code has been pushed into the bank service. It is available. So if you get the latest pull, you'll have this code also. Yeah, Kadar, done with the topic one.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So team, just let's do a quick exercise together. What I wanted to really achieve is I wanted you to understand a couple of things. First thing is, you know, we are a non-profit, so all these survey results that you are providing is actually is saying thanks to all our work and the speaker and everyone. Why I say that is because we need to present this survey results to the government as a non-profit organization. So this is not a survey that I'm asking you guys to do it for the sake of doing it, right? This is something that we need to really report it back to the government as a non-profit, how we are really helping you all to, you know, learn and become successful in your career. So please keep that in your mind, and I sincerely require your help to fill up the survey. That includes also the trainers and all the volunteers as applicable. So if you go to the Teams channel, okay, if you go to the Teams channel and if you click the Codathon, And then if you click the third one, like after YouTube, if you click this one, you would actually see the survey. It would, it's a little lengthy survey, 20-25 questions, but it will not take more than 2 minutes if you do it quickly. And why so many questions? You might think survey should not have more than 10 questions, 8 questions. So why so many questions? Because that's what our government wants from us, right? So we don't have an option. And we also publish those survey results in a more, I would say the how would I put it? The more concise way. We also present that in the statistics tab of the Testoper website. So basically tells that how many people that we have served so far, and many other statistics that we do, like how many programs that we have done, and even the funding, right? Like whatever that you donate in the Eventbrite, and everything is public, right? We have to do that as a non-profit. So that's the way it works. So kindly request you to go to that Testoper Codathon channel and fill up that. Those who do not still have the Microsoft Teams access, let me see what I can do. I can actually create a quick link here. Just a minute. Let me see. Yeah, I think I can copy, share, copy this link, and I will also put it in the Teams channel chat. If you can click that and update, I would appreciate it. So after you finish it, let's look at quickly review together and see who all are attending, what kind of people that we have spent together since last 3-4 sessions, and consistently 15 people are attending. Thanks a lot. I would be really kind if you could quickly click that link and fill up the survey. It starts now. Even I'm starting to fill the survey. Okay. Get this going. Let's make sure all 15 of us fill this survey quickly. So Kavita, it's also applicable for you, Murli, and everyone.
Yeah, doing it.
So the question number 27, 28, 29 may not be applicable for you. It's applicable only if you are a sponsor or if you have donated some money in the Eventbrite. Otherwise, you can skip 27, 28, 29 answering it. Thank you. We have 4 responses so far. Let's get this going. All 15, I would appreciate it this is the way to say thank you to us for all the hard work that we do, taking time out to help you guys as much as that we can. While you are filling this, a quick message. So there is a DevOps and NetOps requirement. That is one job requirement. And the second one is front-end developers, right? Senior front-end developer. There is two job profiles that has been posted in the Microsoft Teams job channel. If any of you is fits to that job description, or any of your friends, colleagues, family that you wanted to help, please reach out to me, right, or the coordinates that's been provided in the Testoper jobs channel. And mostly the requirement is for those who are in the North American time zone. So I would appreciate it if you have a requirement, or like I mentioned, your friends and families or anyone who is looking for a job, if the JD profile matches, please reach out to us. Again, that's how we all help each other to help each other. Okay. As a side note, while you're filling the survey, let me look at it. How many has responded? 8 responses so far. So in case if some of you are not filling it up, just show your hands that you're not filling it up, so I don't have to indefinitely wait for people to fill up until I get 15 responses, right? So just kindly do that as well if you're not filling it up.
Carter, it's 14. I'm using programs even to record.
Sorry?
It's 14. I'm using the computer to record.
So basically Mickey is saying there will be 14 you need to get, Kader, because one is programs. It's the same as Mickey. So
okay, got it. 14 is a good number, yeah. So we have received so far 9 responses. So we have 10 responses. I'll give it 1 more minute and then we can quickly look at our survey together. Okay, 30 more seconds, 11 responses. Okay, let me quickly share the screen. I think with this, we can start looking at the response. Is anyone still filling? At least let me know if anyone is still filling by raising your hands. Or not filling. It's okay. You don't have to shy. It's absolutely okay if you don't want to fill. We understand that. If someone is filling still, please show your hands. No. Okay. All right. So let's quickly look through this. It's if we have been doing this as an in-person event, it would have been fun. We all would have met each other and had some good snacks. But let's look at how what kind of people have been attending. 11 responses we have. This is good enough. So I'll skip the names, email addresses, and phone numbers. But if you look at it, the people attended, don't look the numbers, but what's more important here is the diversity, right? So we have almost equal number of male and female attending. That's really good. So most of us are between 25 to 64 years. That's also good. And majority of them are attending from Canada and 3 from outside Canada. I think mostly that's trainers, I think. And so which mentioned the city, I think this is okay, we can script it. So this is important. How many are postgraduates, graduates, certification and diploma? This is kind of spread across. This is also good. The experience level, most of them in Canada who are greater than 3 years, right? So they've lived more than 3 years. That's good. And some of them are not applicable. Most of us are Asians. This is good. And we also have the ethnic Black or African American. That's also really, really good. Prefer not to say this is what the diversity and inclusion is all about. We wanted from different people attending from different racialized status, and that's our goal. And most of them are employed, some are contractors, some are freelancer. That's good. So not many are unemployed. So that means the 2 job opportunities I said may not be applicable for you guys. And if you want to make a change, and if you're still interested, if your job skill matches that JD, feel free to reach out. Okay. The work experience level. So 1 is intern, 4 associate, 4 managers. That's interesting. 1 senior manager, 1 senior vice president. Well, that's me. So leave that. Your years of work experience kind of distributed. This is really, really good. Maybe I'm the oldest here, 20 plus years. So let's skip that too. Which department do you work in your organization? Some research, some product management. This is really interesting. IT management, sales, and others. Wow, this is really interesting. So people wants to learn, not only the developers, but also want to learn who are working in other departments. Interesting. Select your industry experience. Oh, it's kind of distributed. So a lot of people have different industry experience. This is awesome. Select your technology experience. A lot of people have experience in Internet of Things, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, 5G. Yeah, I would be interested to know who are all the 5G guys here. That's my area of expertise. Please reach out to me. I wanted to talk to you all. Then let's look at, most of them believe that they have developed their skills. 1% believe that he's not developed his skills joining the Testopper programs. So maybe, that person probably is helping us in training, I think. After being a Testopper community, any certification, some of them have earned Testopper certification, some of them have earned both, some of them. But remember, after this course completion, if you have attended 80% of if you have an 80% of attendance of this course, you will be getting the certification. Okay. And then finally, achieve professional growth. I think this is good. A lot of people have improved their job performance. Some has become an entrepreneur. This is really good. As far as the programs are concerned, it's almost 4+. Kudos, Kavita and team. You guys are doing a great work there. So this one, whoever is sponsored, thank you for rating this. Appreciate it. So 5 people are attendees, 2 are trainers. 4 people are already volunteers. That's good. So that's the kind of the people that we all together for this program. So I hope that kind of helped you guys to understand. You all can reach out to each other and make friends, lifelong friends, to do lifelong continuous learning through the platform that we have. Okay, so with that, I know that we are 6 minutes away. So Kavita, do you want to continue your second chapter, or you wanted to push it to the next week? How do you want to do it?
We'll do it next week, Kadar. Not a problem. I just wanted to hear some feedback also.
Yeah. So Greg, why not you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just going off mute.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thanks, Kavita. It was a great session. Do we have this latest commits in the Testopa repo?
Yeah, it is there. If you do the pull from the bank service, it will be available. I'll post it in the Teams channel once again.
Okay. And can we also reach out maybe during the week, because during the week I try to always go back to you so I don't forget what we learned, right? So can we reach out to you during the week if we have any questions? I know you're busy and we might have different
no issues. You can just post on the Teams channel. Only thing is, we will get a delayed response due to the time zone difference.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Yes, Kavita, you want to, let's see, anyone else is giving you some good comments. So anyone can unmute and share your inputs to Kavita.
Yeah, if I can just continue briefly for a minute. So I really appreciate this session with Kavita. Thank you so much for this, because I always go back and compare. So I go back, I watch some YouTube videos, I see the trainings, I see what they do, and I think this is really, really comprehensive. If anybody can take time to actually study, you can compare with the YouTube videos, but you take your time to study it, you will see that this microservices architecture with Spring Boot, it's all encompassing. It contains a lot that the YouTube videos won't give you. So I really, really appreciate that, Kavita. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. That was really nice. The whole idea we had was, we'll have everything, all the concept in one place, so that it'll be easy for anyone to pick up and do it. Bits and pieces will not help to get the whole picture. Yeah. Yeah, I had to tell that we rushed through few topics, but the code has all the details. So if we can spend some more time and get back with clarifications, or that will be helpful.
Yeah,
sure.
Guys, just don't make this particular 1 hour is your learning. You can always reach out to Kavita offline, and that's what we wanted it to happen. See, we are a small organization. We are not like a big organization with hundreds of people. And the programs that we do, like Codathon, Masterclass, we normally get 15 to 20. And when we do meet up, 100+ people attending, right? So the different programs has different program has been consistent with 15 people. This is really a good news, right? So feel free to get connected before and after. That's how you become a continuous lifelong learner. So now let's look at, I'm going to pick someone here. Maybe Elizabeth, you should give some nice words to Kavita. We have 3 more minutes, yeah. Can you hear us, Elizabeth? No? Okay. What about Navena?
Okay, they're not hearing me.
Oh, now I can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, you're hearing me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, hi, Kavita. Yeah, I've been attending for the last 3 sessions as well. I have to admit that I don't understand everything that is going on. I guess because I don't have a detailed background in tech. But when she's going through the explanation, I'm following along and I can see how things connect. Like Greg said, the code seems to be very comprehensive. There's a lot there. So my plan is to go back through, rewatch the videos, and then take my own time to go through the codes to kind of understand and catch up. But I can see that a lot of work was put into it. It is very comprehensive, and I think that if people take the time to go through it, somebody who wants to learn on their own can actually go through this and get a good understanding of the topic. So for me, it's been very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, Elizabeth. Thanks a lot on that. And just reiterating, Murli, who's joined here, he has helped a lot. One thing we learned preparing for this session is, we in day-to-day tasks, right? We don't go through all these topics for our coding, but we're preparing for this training, right? We had to dig back, learn back, and do that. So that helped us a lot. One thing, another thing is, in these kinds of trainings, we'll be highlighting the important aspects of the topics, so that it is on top of our mind, and the details we learn once we start doing it.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, training to learn, learning to train, both are equally complicated, right? And both requires dedication. Yeah, Murli, you want to give some good words? You want to say
Yes, Kader. Actually, I want to share something. So by sharing my knowledge, also I'm learning so much from Desktoper, helping Desktoper community. Actually, we have used, for example, we have used JB token in our previous projects, but I haven't implemented that. But some other DevOps team implemented that feature. We are using that feature. But yesterday, I spent like hardly, 5 hours to learn that, and after that 5 hours, I have learned some new topics. So by sharing my knowledge, I'm also learning some new things. So I'm very too happy to contribute to Desktoper. So I want to thank this community once again.
Thank you, Murli. Thank you very, very much. So one more person. I'm going to pick Pankaj. Pankaj, do you want to say final words before we close the session?
Yeah, sure. So I would really appreciate the whole Desktoper community, particularly Kavita and Murli, who are giving the awesome sessions, and we are learning a lot. So yeah, well, congratulations to all team members, and thank you to all teachers, tutors, and learners. Thank you.
Perfect. So please spread your words and bring more people to benefit from this. I don't think there is any other programs that gives free coaching to the people, right? So yeah, Navina, go ahead. You want to say something?
Yeah, thank you, Kavita and Murali, thank you for taking the time, and I would like to take this opportunity. The reason actually I have attended, even though background from the quality engineering testing related, but it is purely development. But in the coming world, in the new, the old tradition is for the testing only we know the quality related perspective. Right now, being in the agile teams, we should know how the architecture is, right, monolithic to microservices. Now I'm really clear with that, because I'm dealing on the automation side and the DevOps related lead part. But still, we need to understand. Without understanding the architecture, it will be really hard for us to prepare that too. So, but now with these sessions, I have little bit confidence on how we can build the app as well with microservice. Thank you, Kavita and Murli, for taking this time to help this community. Thank you, Kader, for having these sessions.
You're all welcome. 3 minutes outside of our scheduled time. Kavita, honor, given back to you to close the session. Yeah, let's move forward. Kavita, over to you.
Yeah, thanks everyone once again for joining and giving awesome feedback. We are also learning along with you, refreshing our topics. So looking forward for the next session, which is which will give more insight into the API gateway. And we'll have one more week on the 6th week. I just need some ideas how to spend that week, because the topics we planned will be covered next week. So we'll have that also in mind.
Yeah, no issues. If you are able to finish it next week, we can close the sessions by next week, right? In 5 sessions, 6 session we can cancel it. Should be okay.
No, like we can have anything, any discussions
no.
or anything planned for. I am ready to do that. I'm open for that slot.
So then let's do this, right? So those people whoever are here can join the last session, and Greg, maybe we can bring in the project Testoper project teams into that last session to get some ideas from Kavita on the architecture side or whatever, right? That would be a good thing to do.
Yeah. And one thing I think you can think about, I know it's a big ask, is how to connect. This is backend, right? How do we connect it to the front end? Just that little piece. That is all.
Yes, Greg. What
Yeah,
we'll do is we'll get some front end working model also. It need not be an extensive one. We will have that. Yeah, your point is correct. End of the day, we can't work with Swaggers. We have the actual application will definitely have a front end which is talking to the APIs. Yeah.
Right.
So just a very small front end one we'll try to build.
Yeah. Thank you.
So now we have a content what to do for the 6th session, and also we will try to, Greg, can you take a lead to try to bring all the Testoper project attendees, like 8 to 10 attendees we have into this, and maybe, you guys can ask some open questions. Let's leave it like an open floor question. You had some questions like what front end platform I will choose, what backend platform I'll choose if I wanted to build this app and things like that. Maybe we can have an open discussion in that call. Maybe that would also be very, very useful.
Sure.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks.
So now we have topics for all 6 sessions, Kavita.
Yeah, that's nice.
Goodbye to all.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Kadar.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Murli. Bye.
Thank you all.
Yes.